So David, I heard you shot a 62-metre sailing yacht recently. Can you tell me about that?
You're talking about SIMENA, the 62-metre ketch built by Ares, who you and I are big fans of. They actually build almost entirely military craft. And we did a whole documentary series about them where we visited the shipyard, we showed the yacht in construction, we showed the launch. You did a great video of the sea trial, and now we finally did the final reveal of the finished yacht.
Yeah, the full walkthrough. And you shot that a couple of weeks ago now, and that was around here somewhere, around the Côte d'Azur, is that right?
Yeah, you were supposed to be there actually. We were hoping to do it together, weren't we, on that particular one, but I can't remember.
I was otherwise occupied. I'm a busy woman.
But yeah, we filmed it in the local area, and we were particularly excited because the biggest problem with filming sailing yachts is that you want them to sail, right?
Of course,
and
you need the wind.
You need the wind, which I often have, but not when I need it, I suppose. And I think what I want viewers and listeners to understand is that we film a lot of yachts. They're not always available. When they're available, you have to strike and you have to film that day. And if there's no wind, then there's no wind. So we were excited because the day that we were filming SIMENA, the wind was due to pick up around about midday. So Slava and Jarek and myself got there really early in the morning. It was at anchor. We got some beautiful footage of the yacht at anchor, really stunning. The guys were able to film and photograph the interiors of the yacht, which looked fantastic. And then the wind picked up. And boy, did it pick up.
Too much?
Oh, well, the thing is that when you take off with a drone, you need the yacht to be stationary. And that's easy with a motor yacht, not so much with a sailing yacht, because they have to take the sails down to stop it, right? So they've got a fairly good chase boat. Slava got in the chase boat, took off with the drone, but as the wind picked up, so did the waves. And we had, what would you say, Slava, 2-meter waves, perhaps? Easily 2-meter waves. So you imagine that Slava on the chase boat is going up and down 2 meters at a time, and it's rolling and rocking and trying to operate a drone, which you're already fighting the wind. And SIMENA was sailing further and further away at quite speed. So it made it a real challenging shoot.
I can imagine. And actually, I know that very well because when we did the sea trial shot of SIMENA, that's when we lost a drone in the past because we couldn't land it properly. So I can only imagine the stress of that.
Yeah, and one of the things with these podcasts that I really want to do is give some behind the scenes details. And we're obviously focused on filming a good video to promote the Yacht For Sale. But the captain has his challenges too, right? And in this case, brand new yacht, brand new crew who'd not really worked together before. And the captain was very focused on getting the crew to understand what they needed to do to get the sails up and down. I was trying to tell him to sail in one particular direction. It didn't go the way that we'd planned, but I think the final result was a good video.
I think it's had incredible results so far, right? It's got a couple of 100,000 views, something like that.
I think we're at 150, 160,000 views in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but you're right. I think, if I can say this, captains can be a little bit of a challenge. And I found that in one of my first ever shoots that I did, where we turned up about 5 a.m. We'd left the house at 3 a.m. And the captain said, oh no, it's too windy. We can't possibly leave the dock. We said, okay, that's fine. We'll go and sit down and have a coffee and we'll come back in a couple of hours. And, a couple of hours pass. The sea is mirror flat. So we're like, okay, we'll come out now. And the captain says, no, sorry, the weather's still too bad. And we were like, oh my God, we'll just come back tomorrow if we can't do it today, So I feel for the captains, they're balancing safety and other things, their own agendas, but
But you had one captain who forgot to turn up.
Yeah, that was bad. I was not going to mention that. That was funny, and really awful as well. Once we've flown out there and kind of been are ready to shoot, we've put a lot of work into it. Then
well, we've paid the flights, we've paid the hotels, and then the captain
to drive or sail.
Yeah. Or sail in this case. That's right. And it makes such a big difference when we have captains who are really on board in the sense of being collaborative. It makes for such an easy
And we
shoot.
do get some great captains as well. I've had some fantastic captains, and they cook a whole spread for us, a fantastic lunch, and other captains that don't even give us coffee, which is rare. But
no, in fact, that's something as well. It's interesting for viewers to know the variety of treatments that we get on board. Sometimes Usually we have something to eat in the crew mess, which is what we like, to be perfectly honest. Ideally, we like sandwiches, something quick in the crew mess because we're there to work. But sometimes the crew chef is so proud of what they do, they'll cook us the most amazing food in the crew mess. But then on other occasions, they've even made us the whole dining table. And we're there going, no, look, we're here to work. Don't do all of this for us.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And then, as you say, there's been a few occasions where literally we don't even get a coffee
Yeah.
offered to us. And we're there on board filming sometimes for 10 hours.
Yeah, it's long days.
Yeah.
And so how long was the shoot on SIMENA? Because once the wind started picking up, I guess you were doing quite a lot of serious performance, right? I mean, how many knots were you going as well?
Oh, I don't know how many knots, but it felt like we were going just about as fast as was possible. It was strong wind. The sails were were filled with the wind. I think we were doing 13, 14 knots. And in that moment, you understand why people buy a yacht like this. It was exciting. It was fast. You can really feel the adrenaline rushing on that.
I'm feeling the power as well, because this is not a racing yacht, right? This is a luxury cruiser. So when a big steel boat gets up and sailing like that, it feels like a big moment.
Yeah, and you and I were discussing this, that we also filmed Black Sails, which was a 120-foot Wally, and that's a racing sailing yacht. It's built to race, and it heels right over, which is very exciting. That's not what SIMENA's all about. SIMENA is built for luxury, long-range cruising, and it really didn't heel that much at all, but you felt the speed.
And what about some other specs on SIMENA then? So it's Tacker yachts for the exterior design, and you mentioned that you know Tacker.
I did an interview with Tanju, whose surname I can't pronounce. But
Okay.
Tanju's a lovely, charming, talented man that we interviewed some years ago, because he also designed La Rima, which is one of the more popular videos on the channel.
Gentleman's yacht. Small
Yeah.
gentleman's yacht, yeah.
But on the topic of specs, I mean, a few things that I know people are interested in: steel hull, composite superstructure. But what's particularly interesting is that she has that hybrid propulsion system. And there's a misconception perhaps that sailing yachts only ever sail. But you don't always have the wind. Not even I always have the wind. And it must be so frustrating if you are trying to go from Monaco to Saint-Tropez, for example, and there's just not enough wind to sail. So you need to be able to motor there, and SIMENA has an incredible range to be able to do that.
Fantastic. And she's got a single MAN engine, right?
Single MAN engine. What else do we have here?
And Sean actually told me about this engine. So he said that it was because it's just one engine, and because the boat is very well insulated, you can hear and feel very little when the boat is under engine power. And you must have used engine power on your
We did.
Yeah. And quiet.
Very,
vibration
very
free.
quiet.
Yeah.
Very, very quiet, very vibration.
That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. Should we talk about some of the comments and the questions that we got on that video from the over 100,000 viewers that we got? So one person, there were quite a lot of comments about the interior design and how it came across very well, and it was more functional than fussy. Is that what you felt as well?
Yes, you really knew that you were on a yacht. The yacht that you'll be filming next week, I looked at yesterday, and you felt you were in a Miami loft-style apartment, which is lovely. SIMENA, you know you're at sea on a yacht. It's glorious.
That's quite nice. So it worked well. It came
Yes.
across well.
Yeah.
There was another comment from someone saying that when they first saw the photos, they weren't that convinced because the first photos that were released, and then they saw your walkthrough and they completely got it. So what do you think it was when you were filming the boat that kind of was it the drone shots that kind of translated that, or was it the shots of the boat underway? What do you think it was?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I think that one of the great things with walkthrough videos is you get a sense of perspective. So if you have somebody on screen, you really understand then the size of the area that they're in. And so very often we ask Slava to step back, use a wide angle so that you can see the entire surroundings with either you or me as a little character on the screen as well.
And also how light plays as well. You know, these things that don't pick up in photos, sometimes you need to get a sense of how the light works and how the space kind of interacts with other spaces. And there was another question, which I thought was very interesting, which I asked you before we filmed, and it was someone said, why is the master cabin at the very front of the boat? Why is it not at the aft where it's more stable?
Yeah, and I'm not sure I agree that it is necessarily more stable at the aft. I mean, midships is probably the most stable part. And I don't know honestly enough about sailing yacht hull design, but as we've talked about in another video, they lift quite a lot to the transom as well as at the bow. So I'm not saying that comment is wrong, but I'm not completely convinced that it's right either.
I think you were saying on a motor yacht, when the master cabin is right in the very, very bow, maybe that's a consideration. But on SIMENA, it's not, right? It's not kind of right up front. It's kind of at the front, but not totally at the front.
Yeah, and it's certainly a spacious cabin.
Yeah,
Isn't it? It's
great,
spacious,
yeah.
but he's talking about stability. And the thing is with, say, a 50, 55 foot, even a 60-foot motor yacht, is they'll put the VIP cabin as far into the bow as they can. And yeah, you probably look, it's not just rolling, you'll get slapping on the hull as well at the bow, which is not great. Not to mention the fact that when the anchor is dropped or the bow thruster is used, it'll deafen you in one of those cabins.
Oh, okay.
Not the case really with SIMENA because it's such a big yacht.
Okay. Well, that was very interesting. Thank you so much, David. And we hope you enjoyed watching or listening to this. Don't forget to follow us and leave us a like.